Hey guys, Steve here at Tony's Resto. I just wanted to do a quick little video, just kind of a what is Tony's Resto, where did it come from, who the heck are you type deal. So I'm Steve with Tony's Resto. Uh, it's a new business, a new company. Um, where the Tony's Resto, I'll kind of go backwards, I guess. Where Tony's Resto came from is Tony was the name of my grandfather, who had a shop in a little town similar to a little bit bigger than the town that I live in up by Minot, North Dakota. And that was a real fun place to go in the summers. Go and hang out in the shop, just be a pain in the butt, dig through parts, dig through the cars that he had sitting out back. Um, Before that, even, I guess what I can remember is as soon as I was big enough, I was crawling underneath hoods and tearing off carburetors and tearing heads off of cars and taking them into my grandpa's shop and cleaning the carbon off and just always tinkering with something, taking stuff apart. Of course, the big magic of taking stuff apart is when you finally get to the point in the age where you can actually get them back together. First, you get them all back together with a handful of parts left over, and then eventually you get them back together and the parts are gone because you've put it all back together right. So hopefully I'm fairly close to that at my advanced age, taking stuff apart and put it back together. Um, I could probably thank my kids for some of that. They both drive German cars, Audi and a Volkswagen. I've done timing belts and cams and different stuff in those, and so the Germans over engineer everything, so you've got that many more fasteners and complicated systems to deal with. But they're both, all the vehicles are on the road, so that's good, I guess. Um, I grew up in a little town in the southwestern part of the state, 16,000. Um, I've always been interested in cars. I've never had anything that's been left alone. Every car I've had, I've torn into or done something. Never having a pile of money, so it's always been, kind of more maintenancey type stuff. My 78 Malibu that I have in the shop on the other side of this wall, I've had since 88. It was a car that when I saw, I always wanted to have it. I knew it would be forever car. That's on its third engine, third transmission, third or fourth carburetor. It's continuous work. The thing that I realized long ago, even before Tony's was in my mind, Tony's Resto, um, is it's my car. It's not for sale, and so every dime that goes into that car, I have to justify. So I love working on it, but it's always been every engine's been a junkyard engine. Uh, Lots of labor by me. I paid to get a transmission rebuilt, but I haven't put an overdrive in it because of the expense. Um, I'm always afraid that if I take it too far down, I can't drive it then. Not that I drive it a pile, but um, and so for me having and Tony's Resto is basically starting on the back of the C10 movement. I have about close to half a dozen C10s, some parts, some rebuilders, patina trucks, some that have some real possibilities for being a nice truck. Um, the great thing about those is I can justify spending a little bit more money on parts, getting some of those nice features that I would want, uh, always knowing that they're going to be sold. They can be sold. Um, and again, that's kind of where the Tony's Resto came in. Um, Blame it on social media, blame it on Motor Trend TV, whatever. I've sold insurance, I've sold computers, I've got a construction business right now, where I do remodels and one man jobs. So nothing too big. I learned that from my stepdad. Um, but I'm getting older, and I'm getting to the point now where you kind of look back and you go, you got one more shot, probably. I've been doing construction for 15 years. So I've got maybe another 15 till, society says, or everything says retire. Do I want to be ripping sheetrock and, crawling around on the floor for another 15 years, or do I want to be doing something different? So Tony's Resto was born. Call it midlife, call it whatever. Looking back at what do I want to do for the next 15 years? I sold parts for a while at a Chrysler dealership. I figured a Chrysler dealership was a good place to work if you're going to sell parts because they're always breaking down. Haha. So I've kind of bounced back and forth. I'll try to piece this together. This video might have a break in the middle because my GoPro is deciding to shift modes in the middle of recording. So I was just talking about the different times I've jumped around to different jobs. I worked in a shop at the local Senex up here if you're from a different part of the world. The local co-op place, doing oil changes and stuff before I went to construction to be my own boss. Never really looked at the automotive end of things. I've got an uncle that has my grandpa's shop. Took that over, and he's awesome. He's been in that world for a long time. He knows all the electronics. He can diagnose and fix anything. It's just crazy what he does. I'm way behind the ball for that. There's 20-year-olds that are way more into that. I'm into rebuilding carburetors. I'm into, getting a screwdriver and finding squeaks and air, and getting into the old stuff. That's why pretty much everything I do is, as far as Tony's wise, because, of course, like I said, I've worked on my kids' cars, which are in the 2000s and fully electronic, and not only electronic, but Volkswagen electronic, which is crazy, very common into everything, and you got to have all the special stuff. But, I'm looking at taking some of this old iron that, at a time here, every farmer in this area had one or two pickups sitting around, and they didn't sell them. They're sitting in the tree somewhere. So it's up to me to find them, get a hold of them, drag them home, and either strip them down or get them going again. And that's kind of where I'm pushing right now. I figure I've got 2 years to really give it a go and make this happen. So what I've done to this point, I've got a buddy that's lending me some shop space so I can work on a couple vehicles. In exchange, I'm helping him complete some stuff in his shop. Like I said, I've got about half a dozen different pickups and I'm doing it all backwards. Hopefully I'll do some other YouTube stuff, kind of going through some of that. You're supposed to buy as good as you can buy. I've been in the process of buying as much as I could get a hold of, which means for as little as possible. So I'm buying $300, $500, $800 pickups. Just looking to see what I can do. You can't see, well, yeah, you can see a bit of it here. This is my Adler 167 sewing machine that I bought a couple months ago. In my construction, I've always been kind of a one-man shop. I haven't really had good support as far as the trades, electrical, plumbing, all that stuff. So I try to, do what I can, what I'm allowed to. And the same goes with Tony's Resto. I can see it being a shop where the car rolls in and when it rolls out, it's done. I know I'll have a couple paint jobs that I'll need to farm out just because of where my expertise is. But if I can do as much as I can here, super. That's kind of what I'm looking for. I've been getting better, doing research, doing my projects, trying to do the electrical as much as possible, make it as nice as possible. I like things that look stock, and people kind of wonder, who did it and where did it come from. So I'm getting into the upholstery so I can do some interiors. Right now I've got a 74 C20 that I'm doing interior on, doing the seat. That's the shop truck. I've got a 67 Volkswagen Squareback that's a disaster that most people would take out the torch and start cutting it up into pieces and selling off what they could. Um, but there's not that many of them up here in this part of the world, so I've got a hold of it. I need to get a title for it, so I got a pile of work to do. Like I said, it's completely backwards from what anybody would say you should do. That needs a full interior, needs full floors, so I'll be bead rolling some floors, budget stuff, get it back on the road. Just get it going. I've got a machine shop in Minot that does a lot of the brakes and clutches and little stuff that I need. I can get, there's 25 miles away. I can get some heads done. I'll probably be building some of my own engines. Transmissions, we'll see. I'm not as familiar with those, but I've got a couple to rebuild that don't cost me anything. I already have them. Might as well give her a wing, But it's, like I said, blame it on social media, blame it on the Motor Trend stuff, seeing some of that. You see some of that and you wonder. Before that, I was kind of, well, do I want to do that? What can I do? What's out there? And then you see it's like, well, people are actually doing this. And I'm not looking at doing $100,000 awesome restorations. Everything I have I'm very utilitarian. Whatever I have has to have a use, has to be usable. Has to have a purpose. So, I'm really focusing on rebuilding for drivers. Make them nice. You shouldn't be embarrassed to pull up to Cars and Coffee. And with what you got, it should be reasonably shiny, as shiny as you want. I'll have some patina stuff. I'll have some nicer stuff. In my next video, I'll go over my accountability video, which will be, what 2020 has in store for Tony's Resto. This is just a ranting and rambling of me talking about, kind of where Tony's came from. Again, it was my, grandfather who kind of blamed that side of the family. I've got my mom's side that they don't do anything mechanical, and then I've got my dad's side that they're all, not all, but that's to me where the mechanical and the interesting cars and it was just always there. You always have, if a lot of people have things that they could cut away from their life and they'd just be fine without it. Cars wouldn't be that for me. I've got to look at them, touch them. That's probably why I still have the 88 out in the garage, because I just can't let it go. I had a 72 Chevy 3/4 ton 4x4 that I sold. Rusted out old farm truck. It was awesome. It just was a tank. I knew that if I kept it, it would be worth something. This was not in my plans at this point in my life. I sold it. It was kind of not quite the old story of, I sold the hot rod because, the kids came and you needed to get something with 4 doors or a minivan to haul the kids around. It wasn't quite that. It was just needed some cash. And I had the 78 Malibu and I had the 72 Chevy. The 72 Chevy right now would be worth a lot more than the Malibu is, just because of, that vintage of pickups. And I knew that, but it was in rougher shape. It's a 2-seater, basically. So that went down the road. But if you listen to this whole video, thanks for, I guess, sitting through my whole rant of Tony's Resto. Just came about year before last, about the middle of the year, kind of sitting around going, hey, what do I want to do? And it's important for everybody. Yeah, money is important. You got to live. But if you do what really gets you going, what really shoots you out of bed, I think it'll be there. You'll survive. I'm fortunate to have a lot of family support So that's good. From my kids and my wife all the way up to parents, and so that's pretty fantastic. So that's Tony's Resto. I don't know how this video turned out because, like I said, halfway through my GoPro decided to quit a little bit. But again, thanks for watching, and watch Instagram, Tony's Resto, Facebook, and then this YouTube channel. I'll try to show some of the stuff that I'm working on, just so you can keep up and see what's going on. Thanks again for watching. Talk to you later.